What if the true origins of the Jewish people are far older and far more mysterious than we've been led to believe? The story of the Jews begins long before the familiar biblical narrative, stretching back to the mists of time, in a world where the boundaries between gods and men were blurred. But what if the biblical tales we hold so dear are not just allegories or myths, but remnants of a deeper, hidden truth, one that reveals a cosmic connection far beyond the realms of human understanding? The ancient texts speak of a people chosen by God, destined to play a central role in the fate of the world. But what if this chosen status wasn't just a divine mandate, but something far more profound, perhaps even extraterrestrial? Some believe that the story of Abraham, the father of the Jewish people, may not be just a religious account, but a coded history that hints at a much older, more extraordinary origin. Could it be that Abraham was not simply a patriarch leading his people to a new land, but part of a grand cosmic experiment, a link between celestial beings and humankind? The origins of the Jewish people have always been a source of fascination, but what if they hold the key to understanding a much bigger, hidden chapter in the history of humanity? There are clues hidden in ancient texts, mysterious artifacts, and even the myths shared across different cultures that suggest the Jews are part of a far-reaching story that transcends Earth. Could the ancient Hebrew Bible be a record not just of religious history, but of encounters with otherworldly forces that shape the very fabric of our existence? Welcome to Celestial Chronicles History, where we unravel the mysteries that history and often modern scholarship have left behind. In this chapter, we begin by questioning the conventional story of the Jewish people's origins and exploring the possibility that there is much more at play in their early history than we've been taught. The formation of the Kingdom of Israel marked a major turning point in Jewish history. Established around 1000 BCE, it was led by kings like Saul, David, and Solomon, each figure central to the Jewish faith. Yet, as we look at these events through the lens of conspiracy-oriented analysis, we're forced to ask, were these kings truly divinely chosen, or could they have been part of a more complex scheme involving outside influences? King David, for example, was seen as the chosen one who united the tribes of Israel and made Jerusalem the capital. But what if his rise was not just the result of divine favor, but the manifestation of a hidden power structure? There is an ancient tradition that suggests King David's military conquests were not only the result of strategic genius, but of supernatural assistance. Could these mysterious beings, who some refer to as the Watchers or even the Anunnaki, have played a role in shaping the success of David's empire? According to some speculative theories, the Anunnaki, believed to be extraterrestrial beings, may have engineered the early civilizations of Mesopotamia, Egypt, and even Israel. This raises intriguing questions. Was King David's rise to power part of a larger cosmic agenda, one that involved the manipulation of human destiny? By looking at the evidence, it becomes clear that these early kings were more than just rulers. They were figures of immense power who left a lasting impact on both Israel and the world. But did their power come from divine right, or was there a more hidden, far-reaching influence at play? To explore this mystery, we must look at the divine artifacts, the legends, and the strange alignments of power that echo through time. Perhaps one of the most dramatic and tragic chapters in Jewish history is the exile and diaspora. After the destruction of the Kingdom of Israel, the Jewish people were scattered across the world, experiencing both persecution and survival in foreign lands. The Babylonian exile, in which the Jews were taken into captivity by King Nebuchadnezzar in 586 BCE, was not just a political event, it was an event that marked the beginning of a global scattering of the Jewish people. The question we must ask is, was this exile part of a divine plan, or was there something more mysterious behind the scenes? In the Bible, the exile is depicted as a punishment for the sins of the Israelites, but could there be another explanation? Some scholars and conspiracy theorists suggest that the Jewish diaspora was part of a broader, cosmic blueprint, one that involved the dispersal of the Jewish people for reasons that are not purely religious. Could it be that the Jewish people were spread out across the world, not just to endure hardship, but to fulfill a much larger mission, one orchestrated by forces beyond human understanding? The spread of Jewish communities across the globe also saw them interact with many different cultures. In many cases, Jews found themselves in foreign lands, where they influenced and were influenced by the civilizations they encountered. This brings us to a fascinating question. Could the Jews have been purposefully placed in strategic positions across the ancient world to fulfill a role that was greater than anyone could have imagined? Is it possible that the Jews are not just part of Earth's history, but have been part of an extraterrestrial or interdimensional agenda all along? These are questions that deserve deeper examination. How did the Jewish people manage to survive for thousands of years in such a fragmented and often hostile world? Could it be that there's more to their survival than meets the eye? The medieval period was marked by significant persecution of the Jewish people. During this time, Jews were expelled from countries, forced into ghettos, and often blamed for calamities such as the Black Death. But beyond the obvious challenges of survival, there is a darker and more speculative side to consider. Could the Middle Ages have been the time when Jewish influence was most subtly woven into the fabric of global history? Medieval Jews were highly involved in trade, scholarship, and finance, and in many cases, they held positions of power in various courts. But this also made them a target of suspicion and conspiracy. In some periods, Jews were accused of being part of secretive global networks that controlled banking, politics, and even the fate of nations. Were these accusations just a product of jealousy and fear, or did they point to something more significant? Some conspiracy theorists argue that Jewish communities in the medieval period were not merely surviving, they were actively shaping the course of history in ways that remain hidden from mainstream historical narratives. This period also saw the rise of figures like Maimonides, who advanced Jewish philosophy and law, and the interactions between Jewish scholars and the broader Islamic and Christian worlds. Could these intellectual exchanges have been part of a grand design, where Jews were the keepers of ancient knowledge, both religious and scientific? Perhaps the Jews were not just surviving, they were actively preserving and transmitting knowledge that could have had a far-reaching impact on the course of civilization. But who or what was guiding this knowledge? The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw the rise of Zionism, a political movement that sought to establish a Jewish homeland in Palestine. For many Jews, the idea of returning to the land of Israel was not only a political but a deeply spiritual act, a fulfillment of biblical prophecy. But was the creation of the State of Israel merely the result of political struggle, or did it mark the beginning of a much larger, more complex plan, one that involved the involvement of powerful global players and extraterrestrial forces? The rise of Zionism coincided with the decline of the Ottoman Empire and the growing influence of European powers in the Middle East. Many argue that the establishment of Israel was not just a result of Jewish yearning, but a maneuver in a larger geopolitical strategy that involved key global powers. But what role did hidden, perhaps even cosmic, forces play in this creation? Was the formation of Israel just a political act? Or was it the culmination of a much deeper, long-term plan? The State of Israel was born in the aftermath of World War II, and its establishment led to a whole new set of challenges for the Jewish people. The documentary of this period would have us believe it's all about politics, religion, and territorial conflicts. But could there be an unseen hand at play here, guiding the destiny of the Jewish people? Could Zionism have been more than just a national movement? It could have been the first step in a much larger cosmic plan, one that has yet to unfold fully. One of the darkest chapters in Jewish history is the Holocaust, the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews by Nazi Germany. The Holocaust stands as a stark reminder of human cruelty, but it also raises some perplexing questions. Could the Holocaust have been part of a larger plan to reshape the world order? Did those responsible for the atrocities understand that they were not just eradicating a people, but fulfilling some deeper, perhaps even extraterrestrial, agenda? The Holocaust fundamentally changed the Jewish experience, creating a sense of collective trauma, but also a renewed commitment to survival and unity. But as with many tragic events in history, The Holocaust's impact may go far beyond what we see on the surface. Was the suffering of the Jewish people, the destruction of their communities, and the creation of Israel after the war part of a larger blueprint, a shift in the cosmic order? As we reach the end of this story, we must ask ourselves, what is the true history of the Jewish people? Was it shaped by divine influence, human ambition, or something far more mysterious? The truth may be more complex than we could ever imagine. Feel free to share your thoughts in the chat below. Could the Jewish people have been part of a greater cosmic plan all along? And as always, stay tuned for more investigations into the hidden histories of our world, right here on Celestial Chronicles.